What even is a recording schedule? And where can I buy one? I wanted to be much more consistent about uploading and actually have somewhat of a schedule. That's not happening. I'm just gonna come out and say that I'm not gonna have an uploading schedule for a while until I can get my life under control, because I am a mess. I wanted this video to be about writing advice, and more than just one piece of writing advice, because I wanted to expand upon different pieces of advice that people get, and whether I agreed or disagreed, or how I would expand upon these pieces of advice. But the ones that I found online, I agreed with. And apparently there's already several cautionary articles out there of be careful following writing advice, which is kind of what this video would be. And because I didn't have any dissenting opinions to those articles, I couldn't do what I originally planned. So I was like, hey, how about instead I go online and ask people? No one talks to me online. So unfortunately, I didn't get a whole lot of help there either. The piece of advice that I did receive, I absolutely agreed with, and I was like, I can't make a video out of writing from the heart. You should write from the heart. So, unfortunately, this video has had to go through some metamorphosis. In other words, I originally wanted to make this video because I've heard the advice, and probably you have too, that you have to read. Just read all the time. Read more than you write. Pretty much. Maybe strive for equal amounts. But anyway, reading is very stressed if you want to be a good writer. And I absolutely agree with that. It is a necessity to read. If you want to write, you have to read. That's just how it works. But I do want to expand upon that idea just a little bit. Watch movies. Look at artwork. Expand. Involve yourself in other mediums. While reading will give you an idea of how to structure sentences, there's so much that you can get out of every other medium out there, from film to art to anything. And I encourage any writers to look at those things and study them almost. For me, I follow a lot of artists on social media, and I'm always blown away at how succinctly that artist can encapsulate that character's personality just in their design alone. And for me as a writer, that's really appealing, to be able to get a screenshot, essentially, of a character and to already have an idea of what they're like, without their backstory or anything, but already understanding who they are as a person just from that single snapshot. I think that that's really valuable information and really valuable to increase your writing ability as well. In looking at art and film and so on and so forth, I think one of the biggest clues into personality would be fashion. You look at how someone dresses, what they wear, how they wear things. Are they straight-laced? Are their ties all the way up here? Or do they keep the first button undone and their tie loose, or their tie just around their neck and not even tied? Things like that really lend itself to the character and who they are. And I've really taken to studying character design, and not necessarily that I draw because I can't, but studying other people's character design and garnering from them the information and techniques that they have and utilize to create this character. I love that I can open a book, an art book, and almost be able to tell you at least a first impression of this character by the way they stand, what they're wearing, what their hairstyle is, and all, stuff like that. And I think as writers, that's really important to keep in mind. We try so hard, and I think writing advice can be really dangerous in that if you get caught up on all of the pieces of writing advice, I think you lose a lot of what makes writing enjoyable in the first place, which is just having fun with it. By simply studying, a piece of artwork or a movie and just taking a single snapshot of a character and learning how to incorporate that into your writing, I think is invaluable. We obsess over at least I obsess over making characters as realistic as possible. So I always try to have them have some sort of quirk to them. Do they talk with their hands a lot? Hello, I talk with my hands apparently. How do they move their eyebrows? How do they style their hair? Do they play with their hair when they're talking? Do they bite their sleeves? Do they bite their fingernails? Do they bite their lip or chew their inner cheek? Things like that. And I think there's something to be said with getting the bigger picture and understanding the smaller details. Does that make any kind of sense? But I just think of character design. When artists do character design, there's so much personality in that character right away. And when you as an audience member look at that piece of art, you already understand sort of what that character is and what they stand for because you take everything that they are. I think studying art and character design and so on and so forth could really supplement writing because it's made me think, how would this character dress? How would they style their clothes? How would they walk or stand? These artists are able to freeze this character in time and already portray so much about them, from the facial expression to the overall stance and picture of that character. And I think we should draw value and inspiration from that. Obviously read. That's a piece of advice that you should follow if you want to be a writer, but I think you should also not just appreciate the other art forms and mediums, but try to learn from them. Take a look at directors in movies. How do they frame a shot, and how can you incorporate that into your writing as well? How do they portray actors, these characters in movies? What sort of details as well as big picture things are they adding to that character to give them life without requiring several pages of description, exposition, dialogue to really understand that character? Just a quick snapshot and you already have a basic understanding of a person. And I think we as writers should take on that idea and incorporate it into our writing. I'm sure a lot of other writers or who have written anything at all, or even just the casual audience viewer, is probably like, no duh. But for me, I wish someone told that to me outwardly, like explicitly used those words of like, hey, learn from other mediums. You can be a writer and study film. I think the two are very complementary, and being able to combine those skills, I believe, will ultimately make you a better writer. And that's what I'm gonna end this video on. Again, I have no upload schedule, but thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you all in the next video, whenever that will be. Bye! I don't know where I was going with this, and that's a problem. This is going to be a rough video.